I don't. Okay, I want to welcome everybody to Strengthening Reading to Prevent the Summer Slide. And this is with Ruth Cohenson and Joanne Began, and I'm Debbie Adams, the NJEA consultant. Today, I want you to think about, it's been a very trying year for our kids, and we want to think about things that make our kids successful. In the past, I think these things have made the kids successful. One being they had a parent or grandparent or other adult that read to them. They had favorite books that they were read over and over again, and also favorite books that were shared again and again. It's important to support your kids in reading. Look at this little cartoon and you'll see that reading with your child or to your child is a great way to support them. And the most important is to make it fun. It doesn't matter what age or grade level. If you can share reading with your children, it's so important so they see the importance of reading to become successful. I always liked this little cartoon because if you ever had any little children that you read to, this is how they started out. They wanted you to read a book over and over again. And really, as parents or someone that is a caregiver of a child, you see that it really can drive you crazy. But then they get to you and you read it to them. And for that reason, they understand that reading is important and fun and a good time. It's not always a good time because sometimes it might be something sad, but it puts some importance on reading for you, for the kids. If you think for a minute to think about yourself as a reader, sometimes people just say they never enjoyed reading, they didn't like reading, but most of us always enjoy reading. And there's usually a reason for that. It depends on when you read and where you read. If your children aren't enjoying reading, you should speak to them. Why is it that you hate about reading? In my family, I have one child who's an avid reader. The other one could care less, but she's successful because she does all her professional readings. And it's what they read. It makes the difference. In school, we use these reading strategies to help our kids. And if you look at them, you point as you read, what sounds do they make? Say sounds and push through a word, chunk words to make it sound. Look at the pictures for details. Does it make sense? Does it look right? These are skills that are necessary for our children to like and love reading, to be able to read. We're trying to make them read so that they will be successful people in the end. We want children to think about thinking, use their metacognition skills, picturing, predicting, wondering, connecting, noticing, figure out. We want the children and ourselves to think about reading as we're doing it, because comprehension is understanding. And if you understand what you read, you will be able to make better choices. It's important for us to read so that we can become successful, make good choices, know things about the world.
Deb, I just want to add one thing here, if I might.
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
absolutely,
it's important to let the kids struggle a little bit as well, even the littlest ones. When they are stuck on a word, don't immediately supply the word for them. Support them. Go back and read the sentence again. Can the picture help you? What do you think would make sense over here? Sometimes we get impatient because we just want to get through what we're doing. And it's easier to just supply the words to the kids. But it's better to let them struggle a little bit and, kind of make the connections on their own.
I think that is a really good point, or many points, because we have to remember that what we're trying to do is get our students to read so that they can be successful. We are, especially in the political times that are going on right now, if they're going to grow up to make big choices and to vote for people that they want running our country, they have to understand what they're reading. So we have to get them through the first part of identifying the words and getting those right strategies so that they can move on to truly understanding what they read. We want to try to make sure that they become independent and that they have just right books. As Teacher Ruth said, she's always encouraging them to pick just right books. We have to be particularly aware that a lot of children think the faster they read, the smarter they look. And just because of that, they will pretend to read at home and at school. So at home, it's important for us to ask the kids exactly what it is. Tell me something about what you read. Don't just say, oh, are you reading a book? You have to ask them some questions. We use these books to read all the time so we can sharpen our brain, talk about what they're reading, ask them questions. Today, we're talking about the summer slide. And what we mean by that is that especially this year, it's been specifically challenging, but most of our kids have reading achievement between September and June. This has been a tough year to be able to see those reading achievements, but we do have reading achievements. But what happens historically is in the summer, those reading achievements will go down. And sometimes the students or our children will lose 2 to 3 months of achievement loss in the summer because they don't keep up with it. You know, reading is just like everything else. You have to practice. That's what we need to do. If you are using daily practice as an exercise to maintain fitness levels, it's just like learning to throw that basketball, learning to hit the ball, learning to make hoops, learning to ski, anything that you want to become better at, you have to practice. Mm-hmm. So we need to practice reading also. It sounds easier, it looks easier than it actually is, but to design a summer reading plan. You should nurture the reading, maintain achievement, and celebrate their life as a reader. How do we do that? Well, talk to your kids. When can we read? Where will we read? What will we read? But the most important thing is to remember that you make a plan, but remember the plan can change. The students have been taught to choose just right books. And if you ask them, they should be able to explain these simple rules to you at all levels so that they know that they're reading a book that would be informative to them and easy enough to read. So I've had students say to me, that book is too easy. A book is really never too easy because you can always find something to talk about or discuss with it. You could create a reading nook at home. I think this one is a little bit elaborate. For my kids, it might just be a small pile by their bed. It could be a little basket. I don't know that I ever had one in my house that looked this elaborate. That's a lot of books for your kids. But it's an aim or goal if you wanted to. Look at all the different things you can use for reading materials. Don't dismiss anything that's a printed word because we can always use these things for reading materials. You can just practice. Cooking is great because if they help you cook or bake, they could read the recipe with you and you'll be able to understand what they're doing. Okay, this is just a small selection of what can be used as reading materials. Teacher Ruth has given.
Do you guys? I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you guys remember having cereal in the morning and reading the back of the box of the cereal box? I remember distinctly whenever I had cold cereal for breakfast in a bowl, the whole time that I was eating, I was reading everything that was on that box. Sometimes there were jokes on the back. Sometimes there was a contest. Sometimes there was just like an odd piece of information, like a weird fact. But I distinctly remember reading everything on those cereal boxes during breakfast. So like you say, Miss Adams, anything at all is reading material, really.
I think one thing that's not on the list that also is when you're driving around, some of the kids will recognize like Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's or Wendy's. And it's not so much that they can read it, but they're becoming familiar with it when they see those signs. Yeah. So, I mean, anytime you can show what the printed word can do, I think makes a difference. Anything else? Teacher Ruth, do you want to address this website? Or?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to do it real quickly? Can you pull it up? Can you pull
Sure.
up Unite for Literacy? Now, what I just wanted to show you, parents and caregivers, on this site is going to be mostly for the primary children, grades K, 1, and 2. Maybe if you have some readers that are below level in 3rd grade, they might find something here. But again, there are very many different topics. You can scroll through and find all the different topics. But what I wanted to point out about that particular site is that they will translate almost all of the stories into an unbelievable array of languages. So
Are you seeing, excuse me, Teacher Ruth, are you seeing the page?
Yes, I'm seeing the page. I can't scroll it, but I can see the page.
Oh, I could scroll. I'm sorry.
Can you click on there on the narrate? Well, there are all the topics.
Right, narration.
And I use this a lot, actually, even in library, because the topics were awesome. The kids really liked them. A lot of animal stuff, a lot of nature stuff, a lot of stuff about little kids, and they like to, see that kind of thing. But what I wanted to be very specific about is if you scroll back up, next to where it says English, it says narration. If you click on where it says narration, look at all the different languages that the stories will be read in, and they'll be read in English and in the second language. So you can listen to the story in English and then in Spanish, in English and then in Haitian Creole, in English and then in Hindi. I mean, you can listen, in any of the languages that you see listed, and there's quite an extensive list. So I thought that might be a lot of fun for our bilingual families, and especially for the parents. They might just really get a kick out of reading some of these books in their native language to the kids, even if the kids don't speak those languages yet. It would be kind of cool. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Thank you, Miss Adams. The Atlanta County Library is another amazing, amazing place for you to get free books. What you're going to do, and Miss Adams, you can follow along if you want to, go over, you're going to click on where it says digital media. You're going to scroll down to the very last link, which is Tumble Book Library. Click on that. You're going to see that yellow square, Tumble Book Library. What you would do is click on that. And if you have a library card, that's the one thing. You have to have an Atlanta County library card the very first time when you log in. It might ask you for that library card number. After that, you'll just automatically be getting on. But there are thousands of books on Tumble Books. And again, there are some things in some other languages as well, not as many as we just saw. There are areas that you can go to specifically if you want nonfiction, if you want puzzles and games that they added to some of the stories. And again, everything is listed by topic, by the recent, the most recent titles, and so on. You can even make a list of favorites. It's an awesome, awesome resource for thousands of free titles. So definitely check it out. The library in Pleasantville, by the way, if anyone doesn't know exactly where it is, it's on Martin Luther King Avenue. It is right next door to the mayor's office. It is directly across the street from the police station. So if you're familiar with that little area, that's where the library is, and it's a pretty cool library. It really is. Get Epic, I think most of the parents are familiar with already because all of our kids are using it. But I did want to let parents know that there is an option for parents to get 3 months of Get Epic to cover us for the summer for $9.99 for all 3 months. So I usually don't like to put up things that cost money, but I know that a lot of our kids have used Epic all year long, and I think it would be very beneficial if they could continue with it. If you don't do the $9.99 for the summer months, your child will still have access to Epic, but it's only about 2 hours a day. They limit the amount, 2 hours a week, I'm sorry. They limit the amount of time that the kids can access Epic after school hours. So if you want to, you can do $9.99 and they'll have full access all summer long. And I will post that probably on Facebook and on Class Dojo for you to get a closer look at. Free children's stories, you don't even have to pull it up, Miss Adams. It's just another free resource with many, many stories. They are divided by grade level, by whether they rhyme or don't rhyme. And again, you have a really good variety of things to look at. If you click on YouTube, I just want to show real quickly a fast way to find as many, many books as you would like to. You don't want to necessarily let the kids go hunting around on YouTube by themselves because there are too many things that they might find that you don't want them to find. But if you work with them on YouTube, there are many ways you can do this. You can go into the search bar and look for a specific book title, a favorite or something that they've heard in school. You can type in a favorite author if there's an author that they like. You can type in something as broad as children's picture books, or get more specific, children's books about dinosaurs, children's books about Ramadan, about anything you want, any topic you want to see. That's another way that you can find many, many books on YouTube. And some of them are read beautifully with music in the background, and they really enhance it and do a wonderful job. Also, if you hit the Explore button, the Explore link, they will divide into categories. So if you wanted to specifically click on learning, you can do that. And again, find a lot of nonfiction reading as well as videos that are educational as well. So that was one of the things I wanted to point out about YouTube. And I believe that that is it for me, unless there's time to show Wonderopolis. But you know what? I think I'll just put Wonderopolis again on Facebook and on Dojo.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so people can explore it. Okay. So I'm good over here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We just want to remind parents that if we want to encourage our kids to read over the summer and to try to practice that reading, that it will work if you nag them, bribe them, if they're judging their performance and telling them, I think you can do better. Don't criticize the choices that they make in books unless you think it's really inappropriate for your child. I didn't think my son made good choices when he read the Goosebump books. I thought, is this all there is to his reading? And he is a prolific reader at this point. But that's what got him started. So never underestimate the enthusiasm that they show. And you need to make a big deal out of their reading. Like, oh, you finished another book, or, oh, I see you reading again. Just encourage them as best you can, okay? If you do combine their reading with other activities, like we said, Teacher Ruth said, like the cereal boxes. I said about cooking, it will help. Also, using the library, either virtual or actually being able to actually go there. If you are reading, they lead by example. We say that about, to the kids all the time. Help them find time to read, like the plan. When can you squeeze it in their busy day? And try to have as much reading material available as you can. Use, if it's a rainy day, instead of turning on that TV, maybe we want to read for a while. And don't be afraid to read aloud with your kids. You'd be surprised how many kids actually still love it even as they get older. There really aren't any questions right now, but it was nice that we're able to present this to you. And I hope that over the summer, that we'll be able to do some reading projects with your students and with your kids. Thanks for all your time.
We can't hear you, Ruth.